Hey everyone, welcome to 5 Minute Fridays, where we take 5 minutes to close out our week in the Word of God. Today we're jumping back into the book of Ephesians, chapter 1, starting in verse 9. God has now revealed to us His mysterious will regarding Christ, which is to fulfill His own good plan. And this is the plan. At the right time, He will bring everything together under the authority of Christ, everything in heaven and on earth. Furthermore, because we are united with Christ, we have received an inheritance from God. For He chose us in advance, and He makes everything work out according to His plan. And as I was reading this week, what it got me thinking about is the phrase, He chose us. And it, for some reason, just triggered memories of the NFL draft because I love the NFL draft. I will do whatever I can to make sure I watch as much of it as possible. I love college football. I love pro football. And when those two worlds get to come together, it's just a beautiful thing. And it got me thinking about a few years back when the Green Bay Packers were in desperate need of a running back. They just didn't have someone who could balance out their incredible passing offense. And it was that year that our man right here, Eddie Lacy, was coming out of Alabama. And he was supposed to be an absolute monster. I mean, he was so strong, his coaches, is said, I don't know if it's true or not, his coaches wouldn't let him add more weight because he was just lifting so much that they were worried he was going to get hurt if he did any more. He was so strong, he had to stop getting stronger. And as he started out with the Packers, he was really living up to the hype. He was just powering through everybody. He was a monster. But then he got hurt. And after he got hurt, he wasn't quite as much of a monster. He was still good, but he wasn't that great. And then he started having some trouble with his weight. He couldn't stay down to gain weight. And then he just got less and less productive to where he really became more of a liability than anything else. So finally, the Packers just got rid of him. And as I was thinking about that whole kind of series of events, it got me thinking about how many people look at God and feel that same way. That God will only love them, that God only chooses them for what they can bring to the table. And if they don't live up to what He's called them to do, if they don't live up to this perfect standard of being a good person, that He's just going to throw them away. And it bugs me that that's a reality, that people feel like they have to be good enough to earn God's love. And so what I want to assure you of today is what Paul is saying here is God chose you. Not because of what you could bring to the table, not because of what you could produce. In fact, God chose you knowing you probably weren't going to be very producible, knowing you were going to be kind of a liability, knowing every sin you would ever commit. Because God didn't choose you for what you could give to Him. God chose you for what He could give to you. Namely, an inheritance unlike anything you have ever seen, unlike anything you have ever experienced, an inheritance that will only be fully realized on the day when Christ returns. And that's what Paul is talking about right here in verses 9 and 10. The plan that God has. See, God has placed Christ over all things. But there will come a day when He brings all of those things back together and we live forever in perfect harmony for all eternity. That is our inheritance. And He's chosen you to receive it. There's nothing you could have done to earn it, and there's nothing you can do to lose it. It is always there being offered to you. The only role you have in the equation is to say no. He chose you because He loves you. And so as we go out into the world, don't let anyone tell you that God couldn't love you. Don't let anyone tell you that you're not good enough, because God does love you and God did choose you. And one day we will all be brought together with Christ to live in utter perfection for all eternity. This is 5 Minute Fridays, where we take 5 minutes to close out our week in the Word of God. If you want some more Jesus, join us on Sundays. Our live stream is below. Otherwise, we'll catch you next time.